Hello, and welcome to English Podcast 2.0. I'm your host, Liam, and today we have a very special episode. We'll be discussing something that affects all of us, health and food. Whether you're a foodie or just looking to improve your diet, we've got some interesting insights for you today. And to help me out, I'm joined by the wonderful Emma. Welcome to the podcast, Emma.
Thanks for having me, Liam. I'm excited to be here and talk about something I'm really passionate about, food and health. It's such an important topic, and I think everyone
Absolutely.
can relate to it.
It seems like there's always something new being said about what's healthy to eat, but sometimes it can get confusing, right? One day we hear that eating carbs is bad, the next day we're told they're essential for energy. What's your take on this?
Yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. I think the key is moderation and balance. Every person is different, so what works for one person might not work for another. But generally speaking, a balanced diet that includes a variety of nutrients is the best approach. For example, you can have carbs, but in the right forms, like whole grains, vegetables, and fruits, which are much healthier than refined sugars or white bread.
That's true. So, you're saying it's about choosing healthier options within food groups. What about fats? For a long time, people thought fats were bad, but now there seems to be more understanding of good fats.
Fats have been misunderstood for years. The truth is, we need fats in our diet, but it's important to focus on healthy fats. These are fats like those found in avocados, nuts, seeds, and oily fish. They support brain function, heart health, and help absorb vitamins. The key is to avoid the unhealthy trans fats found in processed foods, like chips, cookies, and fast food.
That makes sense. I think a lot of people are surprised to learn that fats can actually be good for you, right? Now, let's talk about vegetables and fruits. I know a lot of people struggle to get enough of them into their diet. Do you have any tips on how to incorporate more?
Definitely. One of the easiest ways is to add them to dishes you're already making. For example, if you're making a smoothie, add a handful of spinach or kale. Or, if you're making pasta, you can mix in some roasted veggies like bell peppers, zucchini, or tomatoes. The more colorful your plate, the better, because different colors mean different nutrients.
I love that idea. It's a good way to sneak in some extra nutrients without even thinking too much about it. Now, speaking of smoothies, how do you feel about juices and smoothies in general? They seem to be very popular these days.
Smoothies can be a great option if they're made the right way. I'd recommend making your own smoothies at home so you can control what goes in. It's easy to add fruits, veggies, a little protein powder or nut butter, and even some seeds like chia or flax. But juices that are store-bought can sometimes be full of sugar. It's important to read labels carefully.
That's such a great point. Many people don't realize how much sugar is in store-bought juices. And speaking of sugar, what about people who have a sweet tooth? Is there a way to satisfy cravings without going overboard on sugar?
Yes, there definitely is. One option is to substitute sugary snacks with natural sweets, like fruit. Dates, for example, are naturally sweet and great for curbing sugar cravings. You could also try making your own healthy desserts at home, like chia pudding or baked apples with cinnamon, which can be just as satisfying but much better for you than processed sweets.
Those sound delicious. I think a lot of people also wonder about protein. We hear so much about protein being necessary for muscle growth, but how much do we really need, and where can we get it from?
Protein is essential for building and repairing tissues, and yes, it's especially important for people who are exercising regularly. But the average person doesn't need as much as some of the fitness magazines might suggest. Most people need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which can usually be met with regular meals. You can get protein from a variety of sources, not just meat. Legumes, beans, lentils, tofu, and even quinoa are great plant-based sources.
That's a really good point. I think many people don't realize there are so many plant-based options out there. And finally, what's your advice when it comes to staying hydrated? It seems like everyone talks about drinking water, but are there other drinks that are healthy too?
Water is definitely the best choice, but there are other drinks that can be hydrating as well, like herbal teas or even coconut water. The key is to avoid sugary sodas and energy drinks, which can cause dehydration in the long run. If you're someone who struggles to drink enough water, you could add some lemon, mint, or cucumber to make it more refreshing.
Great advice, Emma. So, to sum up, eating healthy isn't about following the latest diet trend, but about balance and moderation, right?
Exactly, Liam. It's about listening to your body and giving it the nutrients it needs, not obsessing over any one food group. The goal is to feel good, have energy, and support your long-term health.
Thank you so much, Emma, for sharing your insights today. It's been a really enlightening conversation about food and health. I'm sure our listeners are going to walk away with some great tips for improving their diet.
Thanks for having me, Liam. It was a pleasure, and I hope our listeners feel inspired to make some positive changes in their eating habits.
And thank you to everyone listening to English Podcast 2.0. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode if you found it helpful. Until next time, stay healthy and keep learning.